everyone, welcome back to my channel Designs by Akshu, and today again I am back with an amazing video about 3ds Max, and we are going to have a basic tutorial onto which it is going to include the standard primitives concept. And basically, um, beginners are looking for looking for each and every modifier and each and every concept to be clear. So I have found it out that many of the 3D modeling users, or you can say the interior designers, are searching on YouTube and Google. They are searching for every, you could say, a modifier. They search what is morph modifier, what is compound objects, what is cloth modifier, and etc etc. So I thought it would be better for them if I put on only one sort of video into which I'll be focusing on one single modifier itself. So I am going to have some sort of videos into which in each video I'll be calculating all these things individually. So basically in this video I'm going to start with the standard primitives, and this video is all about the beginners for 3ds Max, the beginners who want to know more about standard primitives and what are the parameters which on to you should focus and to work on. So basically we are going to start with our standard primitives, so let's get started. So let's click on standard primitives. Now you have the object type. Okay, these are the objects, and every has its own type. So the first we have is the box. We will switch our viewport by pressing Alt W. Okay, I have my perspective view over here, and now I'll draw a box. Okay, so this is my first shape. Okay, and every beginner should know that the basic thing, the basic 3D modeling starts from your box. Okay, so you have to always play with the box. Then you will be learning how you create such a big objects, such big 3D modeling houses, such big 3D modeling objects which you usually use in renderings and all etc. So basically you have to first adjust the parameters of boxes to make on modifications into it. So you have parameters given over here. Okay, to find it out, if you're like this, that where the parameters are gone and how would I work it, where are the parameters. So basically you have to select your object first. Okay, then you have to click on modify, and then you have the modifications which is called as parameters of this box. And those parameters include the length. It means this is the length. See, I'm increasing and decreasing. So this is my length of the box. This is the width of my box. And this is going to be the height of my box. So these are the three basic parameters which you can use it to access its length, width, and height. Then the next parameters of boxes: length segments, width segments, and the height segments. Now you can carefully observe that I have increased its amount of length segments, but it is not showcasing anything onto this object, right? Now why it is not showcasing? Because the option over here is default shading. I need to change this option to aged faces to showcase these segments. Okay, so if I click on this, you can see these segments are shown on this object. Okay, I'll make it 0 so that you could understand in a better way. So now this was our length, right? Now the length segments will be carried on to that surface. In a similar way, what is our width? This is our width, right? So width segments will be carried on onto that surface. In the similar way, what is a height? This is a height. So the height segments will be carried on to that specific surface. And now, the very important thing is what these segments, or you could say, yeah, what basically do they? Okay, what help we actually get from segments, what actually the work is of segments, what the function, what they perform as a basic or important thing in this whole 3ds max is that segments, if you add or if you increase the number of segments into any object, the object becomes smoother and it becomes easy for you to modify it further. Okay, like for example, if I decrease its mm, segments like this, if I'll keep only these segments, okay, up, right. And if I convert it into editable poly, okay, this is going to be a little intermediate part for you, but for your convenience, that your at least the beginner part should be clear for you. So I'm telling you something little about the intermediate part. So this is like if you want to make some changes into this shape, okay, without touching its basic parameters, okay. Now once you convert into editable poly, you cannot change its shape once you convert it to editable poly. Now if I select these surfaces, okay, and now I want to create another shape from this, okay. For that, I'll click on extrude. Extrude is like push pull tool in SketchUp. So if I extrude it, so an extra surface will be extruded from this. So this is like modifying your basic object, okay. This was my basic object. Now I have created something modifications to your this object. So what does this mean is from your basic object, it means this was your basic object, this was your basic box, okay. Then I converted into it a poly, and after that I created some sort of another face or another surface by just clicking onto another property. Now why this process is carried out and with the help of what? It's the help of the segments. If I zero all the segments, okay, if there are no segments, and if I convert it to editable poly, and if I click on surfaces, only the single surfaces will be selected. And if I try to extrude it, what is going to happen? The length and the width of the box are increasing. But ये तो मैं ऐसे भी कर सकती हूँ by just increasing its width, right? So the segments are very useful if you want to modify more into this box. Okay, if you want to make Burj Khalifa into this, what you're going to do is make the surfaces less. Right? If I'm right, please comment. मैं यहाँ पे बुर्ज खलीफा बना रही हूँ guys. अब मैं कैसे बनाती हूँ देखो. ये हो गया convert to editable poly. Select the surfaces. Now this you can edit it. I have clicked on extrude. Again, I can click onto the surfaces, and then again I can click on extrude and create a shape like Burj Khalifa. Again, click onto this, create some another shape. Again, click on this. So does this mean is, if you have single surfaces you cannot create anything, but you have multiple surfaces like this, you can edit it, right? So you can get a structure like this. So you have many options that you can work on, but this is like, for example, I'm guiding you about. Okay, so this was all about box. The next thing in standard primitives we are going to see is the cone. Okay, so what I have did is, for cone you have to draw radius 1. It means this radius you can see over here, radius 1. Okay, give its height. You can see the height over here, the value of height. Then you have to give the radius 2. Okay, see, the bottom is radius 1 and the above is radius 2, so I can increase or decrease its value. So I'm going to, as is it is a cone, the one radius must be 0, so let it be 0, so it will be 0.0 mm, and the other radius has some value, and as we have given the height, so this is a cone, right? Again, the same thing, we have segments option over here, so you can add its segments. Then we have the cap segments. Now we have this as its cap, and if I increase this number, the cap segments will be added. Okay, this is the cap of a object. Okay, so if I increase its segments, the segments will be increased over here, right? Now this object, the cone, has its side. Okay, इसके कुछ sides है, it means these lines. Okay, 1 2 3 4, so such we have 24 sides right now. Okay, if I decrease its sides to 3, so what has been created? A triangle is created. If I increase its side to 10, so upon sides a shape can be achieved. So you can achieve triangle, hexagon, pentagon, anything. Okay, the number of sides you keep on adding. So this was all about height segments, cap segments, and the number of sides you give to an object. Okay, then this is the option for smooth. If you want to make your object smooth, you can give the option, you can check the box of smooth if you want it to be smoother from all the sides. If you uncheck this box, you can see the difference immediately. Okay, then you have the option called as slice on. If you want to make the two parts of it and you want the only half part of this cone to be visible, what you can do is you can increase its value. I'll keep it as 180. 180 is the half of 360 degrees, so this is the half triangle of, okay, this is the half part of the triangle, sorry, of the cone. So this is the parameter of cone, which is slice on, which is helping us to slice the object from center. Okay, as I've checked the option as center. Okay, so the slice is working on from center, and many a times the slice on option helps us in many places, because not every time we require the whole 3D shapes, we require sometimes its half parts or also. So this was all about cone. Then the next thing is sphere. Again, same things you have is its radius. You can increase or decrease its radius. Then you have its segments. You can increase or decrease its segments. Okay, the number of segments you add, the smoothness of this object will be increased onto that level. If you decrease its segments, you can see how hard the object is turning into. Okay, if I increase its segments, it will become that smooth. Now you have the option here as hemisphere. If I increase its value, you can get a hemisphere from this axis. It means x axis, okay, or y axis, the horizontal axis you could say. Okay, and if I click on slice on object, and if I increase this value, it means you're slicing from this axis. It means your x, y, and z axis. So you're slicing from z axis. Okay, so you can see I'm slicing my hemisphere from this center, that too vertically, but my hemisphere is working on horizontal axis, right? So this is the difference between hemisphere and slice on. So this was all about sphere, and the parameters of sphere are easy to understand. Then the next you have is geosphere. The only thing about this is that its segments connection is like not in the way it is shown over here in a rectangle manner. The segments joining to each other are in a triangle form, and you can increase its radius. You have the parameters of radius increasing and decreasing its radius, and then you have other option is of about the segments. You can increase or decrease its segments, and even it is showing results like this sphere. Like if you decrease its segments to almost 1, then it will turn into some another object. Okay, so this was about segments, adding segments to your geosphere. Then the next is you can change its shape of these triangles. You can change the, you know, this was icosa, tetra, and octa. Okay, it means this triangle is changing its position. The pointer of the triangle to another side on the axis is given. Okay, so tetra, octa, and icosa. Okay, so it will also affect on the number of segments, you could say. So the number of segments, you can see the spread is more of the segments. Octa is like of medium, it is creating an octa shape, and icosa, it is creating the similar shape which was the standard one. Octa is being creating its a shape. Tetra, it means it is creating a three sides triangle. You can carefully observe. If I keep it on top view, see, you can see a triangle visible. So it is tetra, and octa, it means four sides you can see as a square. You can see a square over here. So this is octa. Okay, then if you can click on these options as hemisphere. Okay, you can keep it as half, even smooth. Then these options are like if you want to base to pivot, pivot is your pivot, and generate mapping chords is like, generally this is the checklist, you could say. This option is always on. you know, it is not like much use in 3D model. It is used for your textures, applying textures and all, which gives you the general generating map looks onto it. So this was about sphere, geosphere, and cone. The next standard into standard primitives we are going to see about cylinder. Cylinder, we have radius, height, okay, then its height segments, its cap segments. So this is the cap of our cylinder. Then again we have the sides. If I decrease its sides, it is going to change into another shape, like for example a triangle. If I increase its shape, if I increase its sides, then it will occupy a shape of cylinder. Okay, then even it has the option of slice on, so you can slice it if you want to have its half part or one fourth part, so you can have it. Then the next is tube. Tube is like having two radiuses, radius 1 and radius 2, and then the height. Okay, so this is your tube into which you can make the inner radius as hollow, or even you can keep its value as 0 as well, to, yes, 0, as to cover up the inner radius also. You don't, if you don't want to keep it as hollow. So if you have radius 1, radius 2, height, then you have the height segments. You can add height segments to it like this. Okay, it will make it more smoother. Then you have the cap segments. You can see this is the cap of our tube, and it is increasing its segments. Then even you have your sides. Okay, again the same. You can, if you increase or decrease another shape, will you will get it. Then next same options you have slice on and smooth. Okay, if you on off smooth, you can see the difference immediately. Then the next is torus. So this is like adding radius 1 and radius 2 and the bulge. So we have radius 1, radius 2. You have the rotation option. Then you have twist, that from one side you can twist and immediately it will go on twisting from every side. So you can see the segments are twisting into each other. So this helps you to twist it. We'll keep it as 0. And even you can add segments into it, sides into it to make it more smooth. Then इसकी smoothness आप इन concepts के ऊपर define कर सकते हो. Like for example, if I want my smoothness on sides, okay, and if I increase my sides, the smoothness of object will be increased. Okay, if I decrease my segments, okay, and if I click on segments as my part of my smoothness, and if I increase my segments, the smoother the torus will be. Okay, so this is the best parameter given into torus. Again you have the slice option for torus. Then the next is pyramid. Pyramid has width, depth, okay, width, depth and height. And your pyramid is created. Okay, you have width, okay, you have depth, and you have is the height. Then again same options you have regarding your segments. You can increase its segments, width segments, depth segments and the height segments, so the segments are visible for you, right? Now we have the option called as teapot. Now what this teapot, why the option teapot is given over here, and if you draw it, why the teapot is being drawn like this is because 3ds Max is trying to convey you this message that this teapot is being created by using these all objects. Okay, ये जो teapot आप देख रहे हो ना, ये सभी ऑब्जेक्ट यूज करके बनाया. ओके, सो लाइक फॉर एग्जाम्पल दिस इज ट्यूब। ओके, ये जो है ये ट्यूब है, इसको बेंड या फिर टेपर या फिर आप बोल सकते हो स्मूथ, टर्बो स्मूथ ऑप्शन, अगेन एडिटेबल पॉली करके उसमें चेंजेस करके, so many changes. Again, your turbo smooth is being used by using cylinder, so many options you can use. Again, here also you have to select the surfaces and make use of move tool to give this shape. So many things are used into this to create, but the basic thing for creating is you have to make use of all these objects. But before using these objects you should know its parameters. These parameters must be learnt. Okay, then next you have is the plane, the last thing of standard primitives, because text plus is for text and everybody knows that. So I think plane is the last standard primitives for everyone. So plane is like drawing a plane surface onto which mostly designers work on, because this surface is useful for many such things like making a blanket, a mattress, even your pillow, okay, even your cushions, etc., etc. And even you can use v-ray for modifier on this plane. Okay, this plane is going to be your main object for applying your v-ray for. So plane is very useful in many different ways. Okay, then in this plane you have parameters of length, then you have width, then you have length segments. Okay, again the width segments, and the render multipliers, how many rendered multipliers you have is, so you have the scale of it. Actually this is not so useful, nobody uses this concept mostly. This is the only part which you should consider over here. So I think in standard primitives we have covered up all the basic things. We have covered up the box, cone, sphere, geosphere, cylinder, tube, torus, pyramid, teapot, plane. And into this, all objects we have covered up its parameters, its basic parameters. If you're like unfamiliar with all the parameters, and if you're working on 3ds max without learning them, without understanding the parameters, it will be very difficult for you to go to editable poly and then convert the objects into something different. So these parameters are going to be very difficult for you if you don't understand the basic parameters of every object. So I think this video was very simple for you to understand, and I hope all the beginners will learn these beginning things. And don't worry, 3ds Max is very easy for everyone. Just the interface of 3ds Max is little bit horrible. I mean, it like when you open it for the first time, it is like you find it out like what the hell is this? Every icon, every tool is like demon for us, right? Like we feel like don't use them, something like something wrong will happen, we feel like that. But don't worry, every tool, every modifier has its own use. Once you start using them, you will be very familiar while using all the tools, all the modifiers in 3ds max. And trust me, 3ds max is the easiest software once you jump into the sea of 3ds max. So I hope so you have loved learning with me, and I hope you have liked the video. Please do hit the like button. Please do share and subscribe to my channel, and please comment me in the comment section if you have liked the video. And please let me know if any on any content you want to make a video, I will make onto it. But regarding the design field, I'll surely give a response to you, and it will be very, you know, a very loving thing for me that every uh, viewer of my YouTuber, or you could say a subscriber, is responding to my every video, I will be happy for that. So thanks for watching. Please do hit the like button. Thanks for watching. Bye.